Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's group of readings. Probably from the thumbnail you can see that we are going to be receiving messages from the Oakman, and this is something that I know many of you have requested off and on for a little while. If you're not familiar with my channel, stay tuned and you'll understand the Oakman a little bit better. Those of you that are familiar with the channel, this may be something that you might be quite excited to hear and receive from. To be honest, I would have loved to have heard from the Oakman as well too, but I was not connecting with them, whether that was because of me, because of them, because of, I don't know what. It's just the messages come when the messages come. So this is the week of the Oakman. The Oakman are going to be speaking to each zodiac sign as we work through, and starting with Aries all the way to sweet Pisces. I will put, if you're not familiar with the Oakman, or even if you are and you would like to kind of relive some of the readings that they have given us in the past, at the end of this reading there'll be options where you can choose another video of mine to click on, or you can choose like a series of videos that come from my video library. The Oakmen have their own library in my video assortment, so you can go right there and you can see them. The Oakmen came to us, they pushed through a message. Actually, it's quite funny that I was doing for Aries at the time, and at the time it was the first time that their energy had come through, and it was just a general reading for Aries, and I didn't realize what it was at the time, but it was all actually leading up to the start of the pandemic, and they were really showing us massive changes that were about to occur, tower moments, false emperors falling all around. It was quite fascinating. And they took us through most of the pandemic, and then they just sort of like faded away, to be quite honest. I want to say in the last 1.5 to 2 years on my channel, and now they are here, and I could not feel more, I guess, in alignment with the urge to speak with the Oakman. Their card is sitting here with the first zodiac that I'm about to do, and the sun is shining through the card and through their eyes. So here we are, my friends, and the long-awaited Oakman. Hello Libra, welcome to your reading with me, Cindy, and the Oakman, of course. So we're going to get right into the Shaman Oracle deck, and we're going to see what interesting message or messages the Oakman have for you, Libra. All right, Libra. Connecting with the Oakman. Message or messages for Libra from the Oakman. The moon. Okay. So it's something to do with a cycle. There's a cycle of either you're closing off a cycle or you're opening up one. I'm going to say, like, either way, you don't have one without the other. So there's something going on there. Underneath that, the heart of sky, flow, and earth. Oh, you've got to use your intuition here, big time. The owl in the lower world is the bottom. The owl in the lower world. Earth. Flow. The heart of sky. The moon. The flow. The heart of sky and the earth. You're manifesting something, but the thing is here, I feel like you're, with the lower earth being here, it's almost like you're facing something, or you have faced something that's kind of dark. And though as dark as it is, it's as if you come out, right? Like with a lot more knowledge, a lot more insight, maybe even a stronger belief in your own intuition. Some of you might even be in sort of like this dark area, because the moon was the first card that came out too. And I mean, the moon can be about secrets and hidden information, illusions, flowing through illusions right now. That's kind of what this feels like for you. You're flowing through, and they could be dark illusions. So there could be some kind of preconceived notions here about some things that you've been through. I don't know, it's just returning to the lower world and the owl. That honestly, like, just has this feeling of really needing to utilize your own personal insight and intuition. And that's actually, it feels like that's all you have access to even. So I don't know where you go, where you are, what you're doing, but it honestly, and I don't know if some of you, there could even be some of you, I don't know, maybe you're like dipping a little bit into like black magic, or, you know, be careful with that stuff. Some of you maybe intentionally dipped into something darker here. And then I feel like maybe for some of you, there might have been something that sort of like just caused this to happen. Okay, because the heart of the sky and the flow. Well, the flow sits underneath the moon. And one thing, I mean, just as a woman, that sounds funny. Because like a moon cycles and flow, like, you know, menses. And that's kind of interesting. There's definitely something there about death and rebirth in that too. I mean, that's something that plays out with the moon. Is death and rebirth as well, just in terms of that. But now, when we put these two cards together, like, because I feel like you're coming out of this lower world, and you're coming out of it with a deeper knowing. I want to say a better understanding of who you are and what that represents, and like how you see things around you now based on that, like almost like a new perspective on yourself. And because of that perspective change within oneself, there's a perspective change outside of you. But it like, this wasn't an easy place to get this perspective, for one thing. And then the heart of the sky. Now this is almost like you're tapping into higher frequencies, but you've been tapped into a lower frequency. Almost like tapped into, I kind of want to say too, because world, we have world and earth. The lower world, to me, a world symbolizes like a type of place, where the earth symbolizes the wholeness of that. So there's different worlds that could exist within earth, right? And so this is sort of like a darker place that you've been in, but now it's like you are, as I said, you're closing off a cycle and you're opening up another one, because the cards that are like here on the table that came out first feel very different in terms of mood, atmosphere, vibration. It's like, that's dark. And even the owl, like, it just seems like the contrast in the artwork just seems heavy, you know? So the things seem very like lights and darks are magnified in that. And then this is lighter, though. This is lighter. It's flowing. And it's as if, what I'm seeing here, though, it's like you're connecting with these higher frequencies again, right? With heart of the sky. And I do want to say that it's even, so because the word heart is in there, these dark energies may have even affected like your heart, or there were things that you were working through in your heart through these kind of darker energies. But you know, where you come from, source, is sort of like trying to reconnect with you again, because that cycle is closed. But so this is how you're going to flow. This is how you're going to move forward. You're not going to manifest with this, right? But this is almost as if this is building something up in you. And then when you come out of it, if you can clear that energy, you are kind of like stronger and more capable of manifesting at that point. And that's what's happening. Like, that's what this feels like. it's as if now you've come out of this darker world, the lower world. Everything is extremely contrasted in there. Very much so. And like even the lower world, everything is very dark. And it's still like very dark, kind of very muted's not the right word. I guess it's almost like the colors kind of blend together, but then there's just this high contrast. So even if light would show through in this period of time, the contrast between that and where you were or are coming from right now would be too difficult even to manage. Like you couldn't. So there could have even been lighter situations or, excellent opportunities that at the time you might even self-sabotaged in these because they were not hitting the frequency that you were in. But that's what I'm saying. It's like your frequency now is going up. Like, well, there's every reason for it to, because you're going into a completely new cycle here. I do want to say this also feels like very unknown too with the moon and like changing such a, it's, I want to say dramatic, right? From this lower, darker place to like connecting with the cosmos and like your source. It is kind of a dramatic change, but it's actually, what you're meant to sit in, the energy that you are truly actually meant to be sitting in. And then this is what you're going to manifest with this flow. And then Earth, like this just feels like this is the peaceful realm where you can create these manifestations, because it's not the sky, it's not divinity, but it's also not the lower places. It's the place in between, which is where we kind of all, for the most part, function and manifest openly. It's like the experience that we kind of recognize. And I want to say healthy, but it's not to say that the lower world isn't healthy. I would imagine it would become unhealthy if you stay in there too long. And so it's time for you to come out. It's time for you to come out of the lower world. And the owl may even be a symbol of something guiding you out of the lower world. So we're going to go into the goddess deck and see what comes out with these. See, as I said, see what comes out. Larry just walked across the deck in front of the window. All right. Oh my God. With the moon, you got healing. That's kind of like a simple way of describing everything I just said. Wow. The heart of the sky. Oh, you have stillness. Wow. There's almost something here about kind of grounding yourself and taking time to connect. Take time. Okay. So you're not actually immediately manifesting anything. You're just sort of taking time to connect with source. I don't want to say you're ever not connected with source, but I feel like where your focus was. I think we're always connected with source because we are a part of source. But I'm kind of what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing like a fiber optic line and this connection that you have with source and running under the earth, and like the journey that you take, and it almost kind of gets twisted, caught up, pressed against by like all the obstacles that you're working through. And so it's like this, it has difficult, like not as much of the connection from source to you is getting through, right? It's just a little bit pinched, like the line gets a little bit pinched in that energy. And now it's like, so if you've ever done that, like a hose or something that's been pinched for a long time, or like, if you live somewhere where it gets colder, well, it takes a long time for it to warm up. Like if it was out in the cold, or if you've had like Christmas lights out or any kind of extension cords, and they kind of wrapped a certain way in the cold, and then they keep that shape. They keep that shape, and the lower world also feels like something that would be very cold. But so if the wire was pinched in the cold, it's got to slowly warm up, right? Actually, because if you do try to, you could break it depending on how cold the wire actually is, or the hose, you could crack it. So that's really interesting, because it's almost like this is just like slowly feel your way back into this source connection, like the full force of the source coming through to you. It's like that cord was kind of wrapped around different things in this cold and dark energy. And so now it's just to be still. Allow things to naturally sort of transform for you to be able to take in these strong energies. Flow. Wow, wise leadership. Oh, something's going to be shown to you. Follow something here. Flow, follow something. Now, because now I'm really looking at this. And like, oh yeah, there's something calling you here. Sit in stillness so that you can feel it, hear it, see it, connect to it. Something that Earth has for you. Do you see that now? Do you see how she's like, it's almost starting to get the attention of this one, which to me feels like you. So this is not you. It's something outside of you that's kind of calling to you. There's magic here. Beautiful flow. Yeah, very much so. But if you sit, you have to sit in stillness. So I really honestly want to say it doesn't feel like, at least the first little section of this, well, the first section feels like why we're here, this lower world coming out of it, being guided out of it. And then here, you're sitting in stillness to reconnect with like higher frequencies. And there's a very high frequency here. And you see her, she's just starting the attention, she's just starting to, her body is looking this way, but like that, like starting to receive it. And then what I love here is the wise leadership. So it's almost like it pulls you. It's trying to pull you, and then it's trying to guide you somewhere, whatever this next card is going to be with Earth. I do feel like this has something to do with healing, right? The moon. It's a cycle of healing. So you've been on a cycle of healing, but it's almost like this lower world with the owl is very much sort of like a bed sore that needs to be addressed, you know, or like a large, like what is it, like a cyst or something, you know, and you basically have to put gauze into the wound and then keep removing the gauze as the flesh heals from the inside out. And that is, I've never had to, knock on wood, but I know a couple people that have had to have things like that done, and it's really uncomfortable and it's kind of gross, which is sort of like when we go into these states, you know, it's really uncomfortable. It's kind of gross. I'm gonna say it's kind of gross too, because usually like there's a lot of emotions that have to come out, like trauma. So like I just picturing someone like with like tears flowing, a snotty nose, and just like it's gross. Like it's just like all of this, but it's almost like the physical embodiment. That's also the release. Isn't that interesting? Like the mucus, the tears, all of that stuff that comes out in that the lower world, like that fleshy wound, that cyst, that bed sore. So where was I going with that? There was a meaning to, oh, the healing. Yeah, the healing. So I don't want to say that wasn't healing. That's actually the biggest part of the healing. Because if you don't do that, if you didn't do that, trying to just move forward, you're always going to have that wound. You know, you go to sit down. Oh, what's wrong? Everything looks okay. Because, right, like the skin would have healed over it, but inside there's still something there. Yeah, it's sensitive there. I'm sensitive there, right? It's true. So flow and leadership, this is trying to, wise leadership, take you somewhere. And I do feel like too, also tap into your own sense of leadership here. So what comes with Earth? Oh my God, you got miracles with Earth. Wow, miraculous new beginnings, I'm hearing. A miraculous new beginning with miracles in earth. Wow, that's like really beautiful, Libra. Oh, this is interesting. Romantic love, inexperience, creative spark, the future. So that's an interesting underline. So the underline was the lower world, the owl. So some of you may have had trauma here or wounds about love. You know, when I talk about like kind of wounds and trauma that feel kind of bed sore, like, you know, it can heal on the surface, but it always comes back, and it can become quite damaging because a bed sore could kill somebody. It could become septic, like, because it just keeps going in. And addressing this before it takes over you, and it almost in a way can become your undoing, like a wound. So, but like the inexperience with romantic love. So that's really interesting. Like maybe like what true romantic love is, like inexperience in that, which, so we're talking about wounds and we're talking about love. So this could be love that was always, maybe you've always experienced love that is, that it's negotiable, you know, or it's utilized against you, or I don't know, like, because like just free flowing love is just because, it's just because, right? Like it's not something that you can explain or something that you're supposed to utilize to your advantage, or that anyone else is supposed to utilize to their advantage. So there's some sort of inexperience here. There was, at least I feel like, with romantic love, and then creative spark in the future. So that's kind of, I love this creative spark energy, because it just feels like if you're inexperienced in something, the best way to navigate it is just to truly be you in your own kind of unique and beautiful, dynamic, you know, a spark way. And that's the future. So that's interesting. So that is so a miracle on earth. I mean, maybe it is to experience some type of love that you never have experienced before here on earth. And that would be the miracle. But to get to that miracle first, there's definitely some work here that's showing up. And healing. Yeah, healing. So there you go. That's what I have, Libra. That's what the Oakmen want to talk to you about. A love here on earth, the miracle of love. Perhaps it's romantic love, but the miracle of that. And then, yeah, I'm going to go do the extended. So I'm going to go do the extended. In the extended, I'm going to use the rest. What is under here? Just a singer of initiation. That I just shuffled this shit. This is crazy. I'm going to shuffle it again. The singer cards have been coming out a lot in the extended. So we're going to see the fairies that want to talk to you in the extended. Obviously also under the guidance of the Oakmen. Thank you so much, Libra. Until next time, do be gentle with yourselves. Bye.